Good evening. It is January 6, 2023. This is our first report of the season, and I figured I better do one because we have rumors of this big X-class flare, and I hate to disappoint. But it's going to be a little bit disappointing. Maybe not totally disappointing, but a little bit disappointing. We're going to start with looking at the surface of our sun right now. We have some outgoing sunspots. These are not anything important, but we have 3181, which is a beta class, and 3182 that is rotating in, that is a beta gamma, and this is the one we need to watch. And I'm going to quickly scoot down here. 3181 is growing. It is just going to be Earth facing completely tomorrow. So we have about 3 more days that this can really solidly affect us. So it is growing. And what I want you to pay attention when I say it's a beta class storm, it's saying that, yes, it has sunspots and there's good magnetism. See, that's real good magnetism here and good magnetism. But there's a very big space that's kind of not very well defined, and it's kind of broken and jumbled in between these spaces. And what's going to happen, and what this is doing, is it's lifting the magnetic loops off the sun, but it's not pulling in tight enough that it's really driving it high enough off the sun that it's getting a good enough lift off the sun to break away in a big way. And it doesn't have much magnetic energy or electromagnetic energy to it right now. Now, this does have a 50% chance at C-class flares and only a 1% chance at an X. But it will still be Earth-facing for about 3 days yet. Now, 3182 is growing faster, and it is a beta gamma. Now, what is a beta gamma, and what's the difference between a beta and a beta gamma? Well, a beta gamma means that there's not room to get something in between the magnetic areas or the magnetic polarities. That means they're tightly wrapped, and there's a very well-defined line between the two. And if you look here, you can start to see there's this very straight, very defined line between the positive and the negative, and they're smushed right up together. And that means that this sunspot is actually getting the magnetic loops up higher off the sun's surface, and it actually has a lot more energy to it. And when something like this gets going, it lifts off higher, and when the process that takes place is this gets going off the surface of the sun and it gets enough energy and it breaks off, part of it gets hurled off into space, but part of it stays on the surface of the sun, and it's very magnetic. So the ends will snap together, the broken ends will pull back together, and when they do, it creates an explosion that will hurl the rest of that material and push it faster away from the sun that's broken off, and then it'll snap back together and create another loop with the magnetic polarity. And there's a lot of energy in that. It's like setting off nuclear bombs. That's how much energy. And it happens on the backside of our Earth too. And they say on the backside of our Earth, just one of those magnetic reconnections has enough energy to power the entire United States for 4 days. And you think about the entire power consumption of the United States for 4 days. That's how much power these magnetic reconnections have. So, this is going to be Earth-facing in the next 2 to 3 days. Then it'll be Earth-facing for another 3 days. That means we've got about 6 days with this sunspot that it could potentially hit us, but it's very low to the south, on the south hemisphere. And these are kind of, this one, it depends on the angle it takes off from. If it's down here and takes a southerly direction, it could entirely miss us or not give us very much because it's aimed below us. If it takes off in a trajectory where it's aimed a little up and it's coming from a higher area like this, and it's aimed a little moving up in an upwards direction, then it would hit us. So it just depends on what takes off from the sunspot and what direction it takes off from the sunspots, whether it's going to hit us. But the X-class that hit us was aimed down and away from us. So here's our X-class flare just after midnight this morning. We've had a bunch of C-class flares since then, and everything has been kind of dancing around us, but there's enough there, I think. I'm going to get rid of this. Now I'm going to put into motion this view of the sun. This is from the camera that's ahead of us. So the Earth is like right here where my cursor is. So this is going to tell us what's coming at Earth. Okay? So as you can see, a lot of this material is moving down and under Earth. And there's going to be some slight grazes that's going to hit the southern hemisphere. And there's some that might hit the northern hemisphere. But most of this is going to hit the southern hemisphere. There's some that might hit us right here. But here you can see a nice steady stream. We do have some coming here that I think we will get a graze, but this is, I'm going to agree with them, probably nothing more than a 3 or 4. And they have our forecast at hitting somewhere midday the 7th at a 3. I'm going to say might hit a little early, might hit early morning on the 7th. If it's moving a little slow, it might hit into the evening hours after 5 o'clock. But it's going to be not big. It's not going to be out there. But we still should have a chance at partly clear skies so that you can see them. I mean, you can't see anything tonight, but we should have partly clear skies tomorrow and into the weekend. So we should possibly have a chance at seeing some of this. That being said, I'm going to advance real quick. NOAA is not predicting much. They're not giving us much chance over a 3, and it's very hit and miss. Looking at the LASCO 3 here, the majority of the activity is aimed right straight down. So I'm going to say the majority of this is going to miss us or going to hit just the southern hemisphere. So, not to be a party pooper, but keep in mind, this can change at any time in the next 6 days. We have 2 sunspots that can change it at any time in the next 6 days. Looking ahead to our weather, we have cloudy skies tonight, partly cloudy skies in northern Michigan on Saturday night, Sunday night, and into Monday night. Then we're going to cloud up for a few days. Then next Saturday, again, we're going to have a decent weekend. Same thing next weekend before it sets into a rainy, nasty ick of a week the following week, and winter sets back in. Enjoy the spring thaw while we have it, or the winter thaw while we have it. Now, Going to give you a little weather lesson here. Our lakes are not frozen. So we are going to be cloudy right up until the weather starts changing and we start getting considerably warmer. Who knows what that weather pattern is going to be? We're having one of the most bizarre weather winters ever. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Hopefully, we have an early spring. It warms up early. By March, when we typically have our big aurora event, the clouds, as soon as it starts getting above this 45 degree point, it starts getting clearer skies. You know, we got to get that point that the air is warmer. And we're not getting so much evaporation off the lake, where the lake is warmer than the air above it. And right now, the water is warmer than the air above it. And that is what is causing our clouds in Michigan. Hopefully that pattern will break about March. Usually does. There is no excuse. We have some clear skies coming. I want to see everybody out there trying to find a hole in the clouds. Get out there, shoot something. I don't care if it's light trails going down a city street, a highway. I don't care if it's a clock tower, a church tower. You need to keep your hand in it, dark sky photography, especially if you're a newbie. You need to get out there and practice. We have 6 days here of fairly nice weather that isn't going to be too cold, that you can get out and practice. You need to practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to be ready when the big one hits, and you're going to be out there scratching your head and trying to remember what to do, and you're going to miss the big shots. A lot of remembering the night photography skills is muscle memory. It's your body takes over and knows what to do. Even when your brain is overexcited and going, whoa, I gotta see it, I gotta get it. But your muscle memory takes over when your brain gets overexcited. So you gotta keep your muscle memory going. So any chance you get at shooting dark sky stuff, at any decent weather that you can get out and shoot something, get out and shoot something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be wonderful. It doesn't have to be the most amazing thing you've ever done. Practice, practice, practice. This is a time to be learning. I am trying to figure out a way to get the class online. And right now, the big hang up is being able to figure out how to pay for you guys to pay for it and me to have a place to host it online. And that's what I'm struggling with right now, and how to break it into segments, because it's a long class. I usually do about a 3 to 4 hour class, and online I imagine people are going to have questions and they're going to want more content, and that's going to stretch that, 3 or 4 period into more of a 6 to 8 hour class. And I want to try and break that up into segments so that, we can do it in like a couple of weeks. And I'm figuring out how to break that down. But I am working on that. And whatever whatever money you put into those classes moves us forward to goals. I am going to do a mass meeting sometime mid-February, and I will announce it closer to time, because there are things coming up that you need to know about. So I will be putting an announcement on February. We will be having a town hall meeting on Facebook in February, mid-February sometime, that I will update you to everything that's going on. And that meeting will talk about where we want to go, where we can go, and what other possibilities moving forward. And I hope all of you will make a point to try and be at that meeting online. from that, I will say keep your eyes open. If something does pop up in the next couple of days, I will put a forecast out here. I haven't been doing them because I don't poke sleeping bears. I know you all get bored and agitated and ornery when there's nothing to shoot, and it's been a lousy year for that. And so it's just best not to agitate you and say there's something there when you can't see it. And so I haven't been putting much out there, and there's been other things going on, and I will explain that in the February meeting. I will leave you with that, but keep your eyes open. At this point, the 7th, you may get something early on the 7th, the morning of the 7th, maybe the evening of the 7th, but I do not expect it to be more than a KP4 at this point. You may get something in the next 6 days. So keep checking back. Keep your eyes on the YouTube channel. And oh, by the way, there's an extra little something. For those of you that were paying attention to the YouTube channel, they got to watch it. I didn't put it on Facebook. I was real quiet about it to see how many of you would catch it. And I'm going to start doing that. There might be little extras on the YouTube channel, and you're not going to know it's there if you're not keeping an eye on the YouTube channel. So, all right, I'm going to sign off. Everybody, keep your eyes open, keep your ears peeled, keep watching the YouTube channel and your Facebook channels, and we'll keep you updated. All right, have a good evening.